அப்பா, அலை கதை சொல்றேனா?
ஓ, சொல்றேனே.
RadheKrishna, Jai Bolo Satgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Today, let us look at an interesting story involving a guru and a shishya. The name of the guru is Rishi Ayodha Dhaumya. So this takes place few thousands of years ago. He had a beautiful ashram where students from different parts of the country used to come and learn from him. He used to teach multiple things: Vedanta, Veda, Tattva, etc. etc. And so students from different parts of the country who wanted to get the best schooling and the best education used to find and try to get a place to be a student at his ashram. Now we are going to look at the story of a very particular student. His name is Aruni. Now, in earlier days, the way the ashram functions is that the students would come and stay with the guru as a gurukula vasam, sort of like staying with the teacher from start of the education until the completion of education. This could easily take anywhere between 4 to 8 or sometimes even 15, 16 years, depending on what the student wants to learn and how quick and how smart the learning capacity of the student is. This also means that all the household activities of the ashram, which is like cleaning, cooking, taking care of things, taking care of the domestic animals like cows, making sure that the food grains are taken from the paddy fields and are brought to the ashram, all these are split amongst all the students that are present in the ashram. Different students take different responsibilities based on their age, their capability, and their stature. And so each of them is assigned a duty which they do as a kainkariya, as an act of devotion towards the guru. So the responsibilities of maintaining the ashram is split amongst all the students that are present in the ashram. One day, it so happened that Rishi Ayodha Dhaumya found out the water that was coming from the river through the canal into the fields was actually overflowing, and there was a huge danger that because of the overflow of water that the fields would be flooded. So there must have been some issue either in the river water level or in the nature of the walls around the canals, the embankment. So Rishi Ayodha Dhaumya calls upon Aruni and tells him, "Oh Aruni, there seems to be a leakage of water from the canal into the fields. Can you please go and check first thing in the morning tomorrow? Figure out what is wrong. And if you can fix it, that will be really helpful because that way we save a lot of the crops which will otherwise be killed due to the flooding of extra water." So the next day in the morning, Aruni takes the blessings of his guru and then goes to the fields, and he searches here, he searches there, and he notices that there is a particular place where the canal wall is actually broken, and so the water is leaking through that space into the fields. So immediately Aruni prays to his guru that he get a good solution to stop and fix this problem. So he looks around and he notices that there is some fine sand. So he takes that fine sand, he tries to apply it around the place where there is a hole in the canal wall. But then the sand is very fine, so the water is still able to go past it. So that was not a really good solution to actually stop the water. Then he thinks, okay, I need something more firm. Let me go for some small stones. Let me take a bunch of stones because they are very firm. They don't let anything past them. He tried different combinations with the stones that was available around him, but still there were gaps here and there between the stones, and so water was still able to leak through the gaps and flood the fields. Now Aruni got thinking, now I tried sand and I also tried stones. Both of them don't seem to work. Let me try something in between. So he noticed that there is some thick sand which is in the form of clay, which has a very definitive form, and hopefully that will stop the flooding. So he takes some thick sand, some thick clay, and then applies that in the place where there was a hole in the canal wall. But to his surprise, still the water did not stop leaking into the fields. So now this got him thinking real hard. Okay, I tried sand, but the sand was flimsy. Then I tried the stones, gaps in between stones, and so water was leaking through that. But then I tried clay, and in spite of trying clay, there is still water leaking into the fields. So he got thinking, and then he realized, okay, I think I have a great idea. I have my physical body. If I crunch myself into a particular form and shape, and then put my body blocking the hole, then the water cannot go past me into the fields. And he did that. This is a big surprise. So he did that, and he noticed that the water did not flood into the fields. So he decided to stay there as a physical block using his body, which is warped, bent, and curled into an uncomfortable position, so as to block the flow of water through the hole in the canal wall into the fields. Now, typically in any ashram, the teacher meets the students in the morning. They definitely meet them again in the evening when everybody returns back from any task that is given. But that day in the evening, Rishi Ayodha Dhaumya noticed that Aruni was not to be seen. So then the Rishi got worried. He wondered what happened to Aruni. He called all his Shishyas, all his students, and said, "Let's go and search for him. I hope everything is all right with him." And because the Rishi knows where Aruni went, he went directly to the fields and started calling out for his name. "Oh Aruni, where are you? Can you hear me? Please respond if you can hear me." Then all of a sudden, a hand popped out from inside the canal, and everybody was surprised. And then Aruni stood up and said, "Oh Guru, apologies, I could not make it in time." And then he narrated everything that happened to his Guru. The Guru was so pleased, and he said, "Oh Aruni, you devoted yourself without having a second thought to fulfilling the task and the orders and the words of your Guru. I'm extremely pleased with you. This is the kind of dedication and devotion that any student should have towards their Guru. I bless you that everything that you learn, everything that you have learned, and everything that you will learn will all attain completion, and you will obtain the ultimate realization about everything that you seek to learn." Aruni was extremely pleased, and all the students were very happy and very inspired by the devotion and dedication of Aruni and the way he demonstrated that towards his Guru. Great inspirational story, right? Incidentally, this is the same Aruni who, subsequent to this incident, was called Uddalaka Aruni, highlighting the fact that he curled his body into crooked and very uncomfortable positions. He eventually started his own ashram. Great Vedantic philosophers of later times like Rishi Yajnavalkya, Shvetaketu, etc. were all students of this same Uddalaka Aruni. Very inspirational story, right? Of how detailed, how dedicated, and how much committed a student is to the words of a guru. Jai Bolo Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bolo Bharat Mata ki Jai. Radhe Krishna.